People Progressive Party has won its appeal seeking to resolve the country's controversial outstanding presidential election result. Caribbean Court of Justice President Adrian Saunders ruled that Guyana's Court of Appeal did not have the jurisdiction to hear a case in which they interpreted Article 177 of the country's constitution and determined that more votes cast meant more valid votes are cast in a presidential election. The judgment was delivered yesterday. Internationally, the director of the FBI has said that acts of espionage and the theft by China's government pose the greatest long-term threat to the future of the U.S. Speaking to Hudson Institute in Washington, Christopher Wray described a multi-pronged disruption campaign. He said China had begun targeting Chinese nationals living abroad, coercing their return, and was working to compromise U.S. coronavirus research. In a nearly hour-long speech on Tuesday, the FBI director outlined a stark picture of Chinese interference, a far-reaching campaign of economic espionage, data and monetary theft, and illegal political activities using bribery and blackmail to influence U.S. policy. Now for your weather forecast. Today will be partly cloudy, hazy and breezy conditions are expected with periods of light to moderate showers in varying localities and a medium chance of heavy showers over a few areas in the afternoon, favoring southern Trinidad. Maximum temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. Seas moderate, waves 1.5 to 2 meters in open waters and less than 1 meter in sheltered areas. High tides at 6:27 a.m. and 7:33 p.m. Low tides at 1 p.m. And that's the end of the news to 6 a.m. I am Umaratan Singh. Good morning.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Leisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarkets and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, liquor, fresh fruits, and vegetables, not forgetting their bed and bath section and kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations: Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, Endeavor Road, Chaguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, Super Quality Supermarket and Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, numbered photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liqueur, wholesale and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited of number 86 Pearville, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
A&S Hardware and out in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Well, it's just about 10 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and that time check came for the Couva South candidate for the People's National Movement, Mr. Rajendra Rampasad. Good morning, people. Good morning, and thanks for staying with us here at 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. It's time now for your daily horoscope with Uma Ratan Singh.
Your daily horoscope on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio is coming to you courtesy Jyoti Puja Store of Southern Main Road in Aries. A tense situation between you and a family member could reach a boiling point today. They may be prying you about your personal beliefs, but you feel no need to defend yourself to someone who has lived a close-minded or sheltered life. Be polite but firm when establishing boundaries. Taurus. Trying to lean on a support you need now. After sharing a very personal matter with someone in your social, brush off your concerns, claiming there are more important things to be focusing on. Their dismissive behavior can hurt you to the core. Gemini. Negotiations involving money could be highly stressful today. Mercury, your ruling planet, forms a tense angle to aggressive Mars, suggesting you could be tussling with unreasonable individuals. So whether it's or counter-offering a salary, it will be helpful to do some research. Cancer. Heated arguments may break out easily as hypercritical Mercury tense aspect to combative Mars makes everybody defensive. Even light-hearted jokes can be misinterpreted. If we want to avoid trouble, we should talk about entirely benign topics like pets or the weather. There may be a big secret weighing on your mind, and it feels too burdensome to keep this information to yourself. Confide in someone at your own risk, but the wiser option is to write down your feelings about this confidential private journal. Virgo. Something or someone you have your heart set on may be out of reach today. Your ruling planet, Mercury, is challenging excitable Mars in your 8th house of intimacy, and your burning desire to join forth by unfortunate circumstances. Libra. Someone may be pressuring you to ignore your consciousness today. Instead of giving up your integrity, you're likely to take a courageous stance. Speaking truth to power is scary, but it's necessary to maintain justice and accountability. Scorpio. Pushing yourself with anxiety or view your list of things to do and cut it in half. This may seem drastic, but it's critical to your health. Even a resourceful person like you can suffer from burnout. Get into the habit of delegating tasks or asking for assistance. You might be surprised to learn that people are eager to help you. Sagittarius. Although you long to break away from an ongoing routine, it's important to attend to many responsibilities that are still on your plate. Today could create serious problems for friends, co-workers, or other people close to you. Capricorn. There is tension with your household today as a family member is pushing you to do something you don't want to do. It's best to hold your ground, even if it means provoking an argument. Aquarius. Slow and steady wins the race your way through an assignment could result in an embarrassing error. If anyone tries to hurry you, maintain your measured pace. Your professional reputation is on the exit to appease an impatient boss or colleague. Pisces. A clash of values may put significant strain on a close relationship today. However, shaming someone close to you for their beliefs will only make a bad situation worse. It's best to make a strategic retreat today. Consider carefully to someone whose personal beliefs offend you. And that was your daily horoscope on New 97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, Jay's Village. This is Irma Ratan Singh. Have a good morning.
Jyoti's Puja Store is your one-stop puja store for all puja, Vachen materials. Also available books, mithai and murtis made to order. Visit Jyoti's Puja Store today and be greeted with the kindest staff with best prices and secured parking. Jyoti's Puja Store located at 542 Southern Main Road, Chase Village, Shigwanas. Contact 671-3849.
Puzzle lovers, rejoice! Your free 24-page Newsday puzzle book is now available at Tobago Newsday. Now you really can look forward to staying home. Newsday, independent and credible.
Yes, indeed. And thank you very much for being with us here at 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. You're with the morning program, the most interactive morning program on the airwaves of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, let's thank our colleague Irma Ratan Singh for today's horoscope. Yes, today it's a Thursday, July 9th, 2020. I am Kenrick Juggernaut, and sitting alongside me, colleague, good friend, Nicole Dookie, as we take you until the hour of 9 this morning, as we look at the issues of the day, the challenges facing us here in Trinidad and Tobago. For ardent listening audience, an opportunity to share your thoughts and to share your views with us. But first, you need to call us at 636-7547, 227-5739. Well, a very good morning, Nicole, and how are you this morning? Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Kenrick. I'm fine. How are you? You came in with your hat fast.
Yeah, but I can see that you had a hard night. You're looking sleepy this morning, Gil. Anyway, at this time, let's remind you of what are some of the major stories as published in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Remember, you can go outside there and purchase a copy of this publication. Read. Depicting the UNC's candidate for Tabakit at Bisesa. Need for free, fair election. Bring in observers.
Okay, and we have the Director of Women's Health, Dr. Adish Sirju Singh, is saying that health officials are preparing for a bump in deliveries early next year due to COVID-19. Had an effect on some people, yeah?
All right, a number of people, Nicole, would have been asking about how the EBC would proceed with this general election.
Yeah.
Given the COVID environment in which we are operating.
Yes.
Well, they're saying you do not need a mask in order to vote. It's that you must wear a mask when you get into the polling station. Now, that story you can catch on page 3 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper.
Okay, Kenrick, so just hours after she was screened and selected as the candidate for Dabadi O'Meara, we see the Arima Mayor, Lisa Morris Julian, already hitting the streets. Yesterday evening, she went to Reed Lane.
And let's stay with the politics for a while.
Yes.
Barry General, there were reports circulating yesterday that Padarat may be in the country over the weekend.
Over the weekend,
Saturday,
yes.
so, yeah.
Yes. And sticking to politics as well, we see the candidate for Moruga Tableland, Michelle Benjamin, she had the official opening of her office yesterday, and it was a carnival-like atmosphere in Moruga yesterday.
Well, certainly that's a very that will be a very heated campaign for that constituency of Moruga Tableland. Michelle Benjamin, the candidate for the United National Congress, coming up against Winston Gypsy Peters of the People's National Movement. So you can catch those details on page on today's edition of the Newsday. Rather, go outside there and purchase your copy this morning. Police on complaints about Vancouver. Well, look, this has been going for the longest while. There are some popular places, Nicole. I see you smiling this morning. Some popular places.
Because I'm in the Couva area now, you know.
Yeah, some very popular places in the Couva area, Couva, Shogunas area. And according to those in the know, a number of people frequent there, including top members of the of national security, and it's creating a nuisance for some people. So you can catch the details on page 9 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper.
Yes, and the World Bank has approved $20 million for Trinidad and Tobago's COVID-19 emergency response project. That money would be, basically used to improve the...
All right, and another very interesting story as published in today's edition. See Guyana election upper hand. Let me just share this paragraph with you and the listening audience, Mukesh. Nicole.
You miss Mukesh.
My apologies. Guyana's chief election officer report of June 23rd, which slashed over 115,000 votes, has been invalidated by the Caribbean Court of Justice. So the brouhaha continues with that Guyana election. You can read much more of this story on page 10 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper.
Right. And we see that work on the long-awaited San Fernando waterfront project got underway on Wednesday. Now, we understand that workers were on site, even though equipment to the site.
You know, yesterday afternoon, I was in the Shogunas area, and I had a discussion with about the 2 or 3 activists. And they remain very, very concerned about the number of projects which have been opened within the last month and the number of sod turning ceremonies within the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
Yesterday, too, there was a sod turning ceremony for the Mova
Maritime roundabout. Yes.
On the eve of a general election. Interesting.
Yes.
Anyway, Minister of Health, Terence Dial, saying no decision yet to increase gathering limit from 25. Now, remember, he spoke about such at yesterday's conference, a regular health conference held by the Ministry of Health. No decision yet to increase gathering limit from 25. And over the weekend, to Nicole, according to the Chief Medical Officer, Roshan Parasram, over 100 nationals will be returning to Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. And we see the political leader of the United National Congress, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, is calling for foreign observers to monitor the upcoming general elections. And of course, she cited what would have taken place in Guyana with that elections. And she called on the Prime Minister. She actually wrote a letter to the Prime Minister asking him to bring in foreign observers.
Interesting stories published in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Fisherfolk tell Udicott, talk to us after election. Now, there's this brouhaha controversy with the fisherfolk attached to the King's Wharf in San Fernando there. This as it relates to the construction of the San Fernando Waterfront Development Project. According to a report, the fisherfolk will be relocated to Hatter's Panyard. They are taking serious issue with that.
Okay, and yesterday, workers attached to the docks in Port of Spain, they they had protest action along Ryson Road. They are calling on the government to increase wages, which they claim were.
All right, and you can also get some details on sports. Well, the West Indies go into the second day today as they come up against England in that first test. Yesterday, only 17 overs were bowled, and at stumps, when play was called off for the day, England would have been 34 for the loss of 1 wicket. So that test match continues today, barring good weather indeed.
Yes, and we mentioned a short while ago the SUD was turned for the Mover Junction Maritime Roundabout. While the Works and Transport Minister, the traffic situation in that area would be alleviated, as well as flooding. And this project is supposed to be completed within 11 months' time.
All right, so you can go outside there and purchase your copy of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Yes, it is available at all leading newsstands, and it is priced at only $3. The Newsday newspaper, chock full of news, views, and yes, you can also get into the editorial pages there, where you have a number of interesting letters as published in today's edition. So go outside here and get your copy of. Stay with us here. 28 minutes here past the hour of 6 o'clock. Let's go to some commercials this morning, and when we come back, well, both Nicole and I will take you until the hour of 9. Remember, at around 7:30, I'll be hosting the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Usually his feature is aired broadcast on a Friday, that which is tomorrow. But because of some other commitments, Mr. Maraj have decided to join us today. So that should be a very interesting conversation indeed. Stay with us here, 975 Pepper.
Puzzle lovers, rejoice! Your free 24-page Newsday puzzle book is now available twice a week, only in your Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. Now you really can look forward to staying home. Newsday, independent and credible.
Hurry to 3C2 Rentals, number 77 Bonaventure Road, Gasparillo, for your business and personal tool and rental needs. Available for rent: coring machines, compactors, concrete vibrators, demolition hammers, drills, saws, Scarif generators, hydrostatic test pumps, and so much more. We offer free transport in and around Gasparillo and at very competitive prices. Visit or call us at 650-2362 or 789-4581 for more information.
A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your General Hardware and the General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
It is back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to U97 turn of Talk Your Talk from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy your favorite segments and feel free to make your comments as we journey together. So join me, Mukesh Baburam, for Talk Your Talk.
U975 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio is coming to you, all loyal listeners, and we're bringing goodies too. That's right, the U975 FM family is taking over the streets with our bandwagon. Starting this Saturday, 11th July, the upcoming weeks, Central Trinidad, this is your time. Look out for a 40-foot music trailer of raw power, powered by Randy B Sound Company, passing in your area. We start in Hoover, then head along the southern main road into Chabonas. Felicity, you will not be left out. We will be passing through your area, and then we head to Monroe Road, Bocal, and Caroni with a smashing after party. Join us on the road.
Yes, remember to join Saturday. Yes, this Saturday, where our bandwagon, that is the 975 FM bandwagon, will be rolling into various jurisdiction communities in central Trinidad. So you are urged to come out and join us. All of us here at 975 would be part of that event. Good morning, Nicole. Again, good morning to you. And you're looking very pensive. You're thinking about what you want to wear on Saturday. Yes.
No, we know what we're wearing.
All right. So let's get into the meat of our discussion here this morning. This morning we're going to look at this matter concerning this call by Gary Griffith, the Commissioner of Police, for this gun amnesty. Well, that these quote-unquote bad boys will not be bringing their guns into the various police stations. We're going to look at that. We're going to continue to look at the campaign of both the People's National Movement, the United National Congress, and by extension, the smaller parties.
And a very, very interesting topic this morning, Kenrick. There was a letter to the editor in a copy of the Newsday where an employer, she stated that she wrote she applied for a salary relief grant for one of her employees, and when she said they kept checking, calling, and then the employee would have received a call stating that she has to reapply for the grant, because they also claimed that there was no printer. So what they're saying is the lack of the fact that there's no printer, it has stalled the printing of the grants. However, the Minister of Finance is saying this is not true.
All right, so interesting story.
Very much so.
But I remember some time back, about 2 weeks ago, the Ministry of Social Development would have said that those people who would have applied for the salary relief grant and other grants as a result of the COVID pandemic, that they will be communicated to via WhatsApp or via whatever sort of communication. They will be given to why the grants and so to speak. All right.
But I heard two stories basically along the same lines, because someone said that they had applied, and they applied at social development in Chaguanas, and Chaguanas told them the information is there, but they needed to go to Port of Spain. And when they went to Port of Spain, Port of Spain said they have no records of that, and the person said that they had to be back and forth with this, and still nothing has happened. And even to now, a lot of people have been complaining that they have applied for these grants and they have not seen anything yet.
Well, that should not surprise you or the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is the way our system operates, It's called procrastinating. It's called protocols. It is called bottleneck, whatever you may want to call it, Nicole. Who would have also told me that they have not received any sort of communication from the ministry as it relates to their application.
I mean, even up to now, if you go outside these social development offices, you would see the long lines. Persons are wondering what's happening. I mean, since March, we had our first case of COVID-19 here in Trinidad, and people would have already started to lose their, stay home. They were sent home, all these different things, and a lot of persons would have lost income, and they want something to help you sustain yourself and your family. And when you saw that as a little bit of hope, that hope basically, it's dying.
Yesterday, Nicole, I listened to that press conference by the ministry in this country called Carnival Babies. Yes. Do you know we have something now called COVID babies or lockdown babies?
Yes.
Yeah. So according to I think was the medical officer who appeared, Dr. Sergio Singh. He appeared on that conference, and he said, "Look, we can expect a baby boom sometime in the month of March, April, around there,
Well,
because people are locked down, yes?
People were locked down with limited activities, so,
Let's take this call on the line. All right, I'm sorry to miss your call, my friend. You need to call us back at 636-7547, 227-5739. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, morning,
friend. Good morning.
49 for 2.
49 for 2. Thank you very much for your update,
So let me go down the road with I see here United States Custom Border Protection.
Yes.
That fellow sees gun or something on a community to Trinidad and Tobago. And you know what getting me in this way? They say it's coming to Trinidad and Tobago, right? No name, no intended who collected anything and who not collected it. So how this thing going to come to Trinidad and Tobago and the person will collect it? Do you have any idea in that?
Yesterday we would have run that story at our 8 o'clock newscast, where a shipment of or rather a cache of
Yeah,
arms
come
that
in
would have been
and
seized.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So,
if you have no name, where it comes from, and it have no name, you just say Trinidad and Tobago, and it have no name for the person to collect it.
no, but you have to.
I am sure that there was probably a name.
Yeah.
However, they,
Both Tiwari for his classical engagement he usually had.
yes.
I enjoy it very much. I support him. I do every possible to enjoy myself in whatever he used to hold, fundraiser and all that kind of thing and this and that. And I want to give you a little thing. At time he was having that classical film. And he waiting on camera pastor Vicetta to come, he just not a little award and all them things for people, aren't it?
Yes.
He waiting on this lady to come by and he stand sit down, and I sit down with him in the background. He's all waiting on the opposition leader, waiting on,
all right, we
he
hear you.
black me, man. And let me tell you something. You see all them fellas who was around him, all the partner and things like Cuba South and P and Munilad and all of them. You know the black me, man, they never come to the man thing, right? And that is I hope to say, and today now, well, I sorry for him to see that older for him.
Just in case it escapes you, Nicole, Dr. Botiwari would annually hold a big show.
I'm very much aware of it, yes.
At the Prisal Secondary School
Yes.
there.
Classical singing.
Yeah, and
Yes.
of course, he 7547 227 5739. Let's take another call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
I am good.
What's happening?
Well, there's so construction, not turning ceremony by Mobile Junction. You know how long Mobile Junction should have had a flight or something? So the time they build the bus route, that should have had a flyover because that is a crucial bus route and the main road kind of you understand?
But as you talk about that, I remember Dr. Eric Williams announcing the coming or construction of a Point Fortin Partnership Administration to actually start some sort of construction. And only last week, the facility was opened by Dr. Keith Rowley. So, you see, promises is what you call a comfort of food. And I have mentioned to my colleagues here, I find it very, let's say, interesting that on the eve of a general election, you have so many projects being opened and so many sod-tuning ceremonies. I mentioned that to my colleague Nicole this morning. Go ahead, friend.
Well, yeah, but you remember my song, Election in the Year, everything kitchen everywhere. Right. So that's my mantra for this month. Now, let me talk about international observers. The question is, under normal circumstances, I don't have a problem. But when you bring these people here, have to quarantine. At whose cost? You understand? That's one of the things. We never really had international observers at our call. But at the same time, you're going to get the excuse. It will not happen because the borders are closed. So don't fool yourself for that. Understand? Of course, I just want to report on what happened yesterday at the virtual. Remember, I said I was going to a conference yesterday. What we found out is that whilst many countries in the legislation to support the document, other countries are on pathway, other countries are not, other countries are afraid. We also found that legally there are a lot of archaic laws which refer to persons with disabilities as mad or what do you call it? A lot of negative words used. And a lot of these laws need to change in terms of the language, etc. So I think that people are recognizing these things. It's nothing new, been around the scene for some time, but we hope that sooner than later for the better. So I think that whilst things are progressing, they're progressing a little too slowly sometimes. But I think if we really focus on bringing everybody on the same playing field, on the level playing field, we should also ensure that inclusion is the name of the game, and therefore political parties need to include persons with disabilities when considered.
All right. Well, I don't want to believe that you're making a prog for yourself, Bhavani, but I understand your point of view, and thank you very much for sharing it with us here this morning.
Yes, but I don't know if you recall, a lot was done under the partnership as it relates to persons with disability. And I don't want to be wrong, but if I can remember, the then Minister of Social Development, Dr. Glenn Ramadar Singh, they were supposed to construct a center for disability in.
So we're moving on to our conversation. Yes, you can call us at 636-7547, 227-5739. The time in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is just about 15 minutes here to the hour of 7 o'clock. And let me remind you that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Mr. Rajendra Rampasad, who is the People's National Movement. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Yeah, Nicole, you're absolutely right.
In Freeport, right?
Was put up.
Yes.
It was incomplete because a lot of, you see, when you tell contractors do something and they do something else, there's inconvenience everybody. Now that center is going through a name change, all of that. I suppose because political parties.
Right.
However, because while it was constructed and launched in 2015, the people have not really used. I mean, we have had meetings and stuff like that here, but the swimming pool and other facilities at the center have been underutilized, if not utilized at all.
Right.
As you quite rightly said. Because the said minister, then, Glenn Ramadar Singh, promised all persons with disabilities to get automatic food cards.
Right.
And the automatic food cards, unfortunately, became manual because the staff in the ministry knew nothing of his statement, and people hardly got. And those who got on the pilot project, encountered difficulties. So, I mean, if you're coming, come good, or don't come at all.
Okay, thank you very much, Bawani,
yes,
for clearing that up at us this morning, shedding some light on that
Kenrick,
matter.
The buildings are built and they are not being used, and it brings, the racket center. Right here in Couva, we have the cycling velodrome and the aquatic center and all these different things. Are these buildings even being used? I mean, apart from the racket center being used as a step-down facility now, but were they being used? Were they being properly utilized for the purposes in which they were initially built for?
Well, a point well taken, and I would have mentioned many times on this program, even all of the stadia being built all over the country.
Brian Lara, for example.
Yeah. Underutilized, waste of money because there was this idea of a sports tourism.
Yes.
But how many sporting events can we
Did we
actually
ever
have in this
any
country?
Events at this cycling velodrome or even at this center, even at the National Tennis Center?
We had one event sometime, I think it was at the beginning of the year or late last year, at that facility there in Couva. Apart from that, I don't think that much is happening there. So, but the point I'm making to you, Nico, is yes, fine, okay, it is good to establish all these facilities, underutilized, but at the same time, it is costing taxpayers money to maintain these
Very
facilities.
much so.
All right, let's take this call on the line before we go to some commercials. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Yeah,
Nicole's
Nicole, right, sorry. My apology. Ken, sorry to be always calling and talking about our native Trinidadians who are stuck away here. Yesterday, I drove past Piaco Airport.
Yeah.
So all of these airplanes outside. Well, absolutely doing nothing and so forth. And it kind of happened to me that when we think about, let's say, the amount of money government has spent on CAL just to keep it going and have hundreds of workers, but why couldn't they arrange some repatriation flights and bring back home some of our natives who are suffering all over the world, in India and in Australia and so forth? Maybe they could come and meet them in England or somewhere. The English airport, Heathrow, is open, and arrange for a CAL flight or two to go and get back our bona fide, Trinidadians.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me challenge you there a bit.
Yeah.
You're making a good point. But when you bring back these nationals, where are you going to house them?
Very well. Kenrick, they are in other compare, right, Trinidad. In St. Lucia, right next door, some of their resorts that normally accommodate tourists and so forth. Right now, there are no tourists coming. They have actually, converted some of these into, quarantine centers. And their hotels, even in Trinidad, I know. I mean, let me say, our doctors and so forth and our minister has been doing some things too, right? But I think the pace at which they are going is very snail-like, right? And I think that we have just now on the new, right, vacant buildings all over Trinidad, buildings, large buildings. They have buildings, Kenrick.
But hold on. But do you know it's a cost to taxpayers to house these people at quarantine centers?
Yeah, but even if...
Yeah.
Even
And a very high cost too.
Even if, Kenrick, some of these people are willing to pay for the quarantine, that's the sad part. Some of... and I mean, look at this. Yes, money is to be spent, right, to quarantine people. Yet we are spending millions of dollars just to keep Cal going. Right, with all of their planes, they're packed up, and people, they're being paid. I think government...
Well, hold on. Attain their stuff. Where he's saying that you cannot go on the road and bring in a pilot because you need people with experience.
Yes.
So when the situation is relaxed, so to speak, you can get these airlines back up and running again.
I'm not at all saying, right, Kenrick, that we fire our personnel at all. I'm not saying so. But I mean, they could take maybe wage cuts and so forth. I don't see nothing wrong with other countries.
They have already, and they are keeping. They still have to, even though the airplanes are down, they still have to pay to have it maintained because they cannot have it down and do anything with it. And also, it will cost the states a lot of money for a flight. Every time that airplane goes in the air, it costs a lot of money. A lot of people don't understand the logistics behind it, but it does. For example, the air bridge between Trinidad and Tobago, it's subsidized. Caribbean Airlines makes no money from that. So
I understand.
Yes.
I understand all that, Nicole.
Yes.
You are speaking the truth and so on.
Yes.
I am telling you about people, our bona fide outside the country, and are begging to come back. And I think every effort has to be made by the government, if they have to spend more money or they have money to spend.
Yes.
I mean, you read the newspaper.
All right, Noel. You're asking us to read the newspaper. Well,
Yes.
maybe you should have listened to the minister's explanation yesterday at that conference where the Minister of Health, Terence Dial Singh, would have went at length, at pains, to explain why the situation is as it is. That is, you cannot deal with this on an emotion. You have to be guided by the science of the day. The science of the day is rampant in the United States. I don't know how many of you look at CNN and look at the figures, You should look at the figures and what is happening in the United States.
Millions of people, not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of people are infected.
And we've got thousands of people, nationals living abroad, who want to come home. But all nationals will be returned home according to the minister, but there's a process. It will take time. Yes. Even this weekend, as I reported yesterday, even this weekend, over 100 nationals will be returned to this country.
And we're not only talking about space here, we are talking about medical staff. If we bring all these people in our hospitals.
And I agree with the minister. People
I totally agree with the minister as well.
And
yes.
People may take issue with me, but I agree with the minister. It must be done on a phase basis.
Exactly.
Whereby you will have to have the necessary resources, health frontline workers to look after these people.
Exactly.
It requires resources. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
I didn't really want to call you back, but I just, as I go down that road, I just feel they should open no border and nobody should come back in. Leave everybody outside it. Because what I seen on the other side of the bridge, I started just right now again, after the practice was going, I started just right now again what I seen. Imagine people not looking at them thing and just thinking a little bit, right?
Yes.
You just want to come. So, all the people that want to drag in and all the people that calling for other people that should come in and only want to come in, you just bring them in 500 and 600 and you will see what will happen if all of you ever get in this country.
All right. And if you look at the report and look at the stats, within 9 more cases. Why? Because of nationals returning to this country. They would have been tested positive. Now it's a cost to the state where they need to be quarantined. And the way this virus behaves, look, I'm not a medical expert, but the way this virus behaves, we do not know what's the incubation period. We do not know. So it's a risk we are taking.
Yes.
It's a risk we are taking, and we have to be able to manage the risk quite well. And thus far, according to the minister, they have been doing good thus far.
And then the minister yesterday also, if you paid attention to when he started, he said that there's a new trend where initially that only the elderly senior citizens were more susceptible to the virus. Now, getting this.
And based on that, too, listening to the CMO, there's a new development coming from the World Health Organization, where they state the virus is airborne, it could be in the atmosphere and what have you. And the minister said, based on the trend, don't be too surprised, Nicole. Don't be too surprised if it is mandated that nationals of this country wear masks.
Yes.
Don't be
the
surprised.
minister had mentioned some time ago that they were actually looking at legislation to ensure that citizens do wear masks.
On the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Kenrick. Good morning, Nico. Good morning, Trinidad.
Good morning,
Kenrick, I'm now left home. I'm going to work later. I oversleep. I'm tired. Here it is. And I now reached the Turu. Massive traffic pile-up. I do not know if it's an accident or anything else is taking higher up. But anybody who's starting the highway here right now and all they want to stand up and jam in the traffic, you're welcome. But here what? It's traffic pile-up. So I'll call you and give you a little update in a little while again.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I know within the last some sort of traffic gridlock on the Solomon Huchoy Highway. That is because of some ongoing repairs to the barriers and so on. So it's something that, the motoring public should be wary of. Well, I don't know much about that, Larry, because I passed it this morning around 5:10 and there was no traffic. The road was, quote-unquote, free, so to speak. But maybe someone outside there is listening to us this morning and can give us an update as to what is happening. Nicole, we're heading up to the hour of 7 o'clock. We're going to take the 7 o'clock newscast, and when we come back, we'll continue with our discussion right here around 7:30. I'll be hosting the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. And yes, you can look for great things coming out of this program on mornings. As of Monday last, we would have been engaged. Remember on Saturday, us will be engaging you, or rather inviting you to join us on this bandwagon, the 975 bandwagon, as we roll into various communities in central Trinidad. A number of our DJs will be on board that 40-foot truck. Also, too, all the lovely ladies here at 975 will be there.
You're very much promoting the ladies of 975.
Yes. All right, stay with us here, 975.
975 FM, hot like pepper, multicultural radio is coming to you. All loyal listeners, that's right. The U975 FM family is taking over the streets with our bandwagon. Starting this Saturday, 11th July 2020, and continuing throughout the upcoming weeks. Central Trinidad, this is your time. Look out for 40-foot more power, powered by Randy B Sound Company, passing in your area. We start in Hoover, then head along the southern main road into Chaguanas. Felicity, you will not be left out. We will be passing through your area, and then Road Bokal and Caroni with a smashing after party. Join us on the road.
Davidson Safety Garments for all your industrial safety supplies. We supply a wide range of industrial needs such as face masks, coveralls, shirts and pants, jackets, aprons, lab coats, fire-resistant clothing, steel-toe boots, and we also do embroidery and printing. Visit Davidson Safety Garments Industrial Supplies Limited at number 163 Southern Main Road, Marabella, or 90506 289 0507 289-0508 or WhatsApp us at 773-3863. Our fax number is 653-9271, or you can email us at sales@davidsonsafetygarments.com. Whatever your safety needs, we can supply.
I have journeyed. Jesus, my name is Bishop Kelvin Khan from Endurance Ministry International. Our new location is in Railway Road, Londonville. You can tune in tonight morning from 6 a.m. till 8. Tell your nanny and your nana, Jesus is the answer.
Time has come for everyone. 975 FM, music for you. It's all about you.
U97.5 FM, hot like pepper.
Power to the listeners.
This is the 7 a.m. news on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Nicole Dookie. Good morning. $20 million have been approved by the World Bank to assist this country in its COVID-19 response project. This was confirmed in a media release issued by the bank on Wednesday. It stated that the funding will assist in providing critical medical supplies and equipment and will strengthen the capacity of the health sector. The bank added that this project will help the government's national COVID-19 preparedness response plan. Contrary to reports, Finance Minister Colm Imbert has dismissed claims that the processing of salary grants have been stalled due to a lack of printer. He was responding to claims made by a female employer in a letter to the editor of a daily newspaper. Minister Imbert said the claim that the unit's printer was not working was entirely false. He indicated that the unit is not hamstrung by any. In June, the government announced that measures had been put in place to expedite the payment of the relief grants and other support grants in light of COVID-19. The last count provided indicated that salary relief grants had been paid to 47,000 people. In some other news, Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan has boasted that the demerit point system is working. With the members of the media yesterday, Minister Sinanan said this new system has changed people's attitudes.
So far, you would have seen, it's amazing the amount of people who would have been breaking and now are trying to get their act together. The demerit point was a great success for us. It will take some time for everybody to understand how serious we are with the demerit points. I can tell you some drivers' licenses have already been suspended. They have, within a month, they have accumulated.
He said the system has encouraged motorists to follow the right procedures and obey the law.
You notice on the bus route just recently, I had some maxi taxis protesting by my office for their priority pass. It's strange that once they start to crack down on illegal drivers on the bus route, that everybody wants a pass now. The demerit point that is causing all that. So the points are working.
Recommendations have been made and will be included in the public health guidelines for the August 10th general elections. This is according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parshram. He said a mock polling station was set up by the Elections and Boundaries Commission on Tuesday. The CMO noted that the Ministry of Health officials were present to observe the proceedings. Dr. Parshram said the ministry will be sending the public health guidelines to the EBC soon.
The mock station was set up by the EBC yesterday afternoon. We had members of the Ministry of Health being present as well to have a look and see exactly what was going on. Coming out of it would have been put into our guideline today. We will be sending that guideline to the EBC for their dissemination on one transmission as they see fit. And of course, I believe later today they may be sending out a press release on that particular event as well.
You are listening to the 7 a.m. news on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. It's time now to take a look at regional and international developments. We begin with news in the region. To end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. This is according to a new report entitled Season the Moment. This report was prepared by the Joint United Nations Program on HIV and AIDS. It said while there have been many gains in the region, much more work needs to be done with regard to suppression. UN AIDS Caribbean Director James Gowani said progress across testing for and treatment of HIV/AIDS in the region has slowed down. He said the Caribbean needed an additional 61,000 people on treatment to reach the 2020 launch of the 2020 Global AIDS Update Caribbean on Tuesday. Gowani said discriminatory attitudes towards those with HIV/AIDS were still high, although levels were declining. In international news, more than 3 million people in the United States have tested positive for COVID-19. Over 131,000 deaths have been reported. On Tuesday, the U.S. broke its record for the most new cases reported in one day. Despite the rise, the White House wants to press forward in some reopening, including for schools. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence argued rules should not be. On Tuesday, President Donald Trump said America was in a good place regarding the pandemic. Over 60,000 new cases were reported Tuesday, shattering the previous highest tally of 55,220 new cases on July 2nd. The latest figures come as the states of California and Texas each reported more than 10,000 new daily cases. In news of the weather for the period tonight and tomorrow, Trinidad, Tobago and the Lesser Antilles will experience a few brisk morning showers, which will give way to a generally sunny and hazy, at times breezy condition. Cloudiness is expected during the early morning, accompanied by a few showers. There is moderate concentration of Sahara dust in the atmosphere. Persons who are sensitive to this should take the necessary precautions. Seas are moderate with waves 1 waters and less than 1 meter in sheltered areas. The current temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. And this brings us to the end of the 7 a.m. newscast on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Stay tuned for another newscast at 8 a.m. I am Nicole Duki. Good morning.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Leisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, number 86 Pearville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liquor, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationaries, tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liquor, wholesale and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post, our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket of Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, liquor, vegetables, not forgetting their bed and bath section, and kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations. Trin City Industrial Estate.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Sheikh Leisha Limited 665-3336 or visit us at Warrenville, Canute. You can trust.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the NALI. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative, only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
U9FM Hot Like Pepper with our bandwagon starting this Saturday, 11th July 2020 and continuing throughout the upcoming weeks. Central Trinidad, this is your time. Look out for a 40-foot music trailer of raw power Powered by Randy B Sound Company. Pass it in Vancouver, then head along the Southern Main Road into Chabourners. Felicity, you will not be left out. We will be passing through your area. And then we head to Monroe Road, Bocal, and Caroni with a smashing after party. Join us on the road.
I'm a hot like pepper. 13 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. That time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Rajendra Rampasad, who is the People's National Movement candidate for the Couve constituency. As we invite your calls at 6367547 2275739. I'm reading here, Nicole, with interest this morning, the thoughts coming from opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bisesa as she spoke yesterday.
Yes.
Where she said that or rather, she's making a claim national movement or are bringing in, the People's National Movement, the party. She claimed, where is the evidence to support such? So you can call us and share your thoughts with us this morning.
Yes. Well, she was. My concern is her call observers for this election, and I'm trying to figure out what difference or what impact it will make on the election process, and how it's going to affect the outcome of this election.
Well, I don't think that in this country we would have had any let's say history of anything untoward in any general little hiccups, little concerns here and there, but not something in the main.
Yes.
In the main, rather, is taking place in the Guyana election. But even those observers would have said, look, hold on, the election was free and fair in Guyana. So what is happening now? Well, the matter is before the court.
Yes, yes.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
And very good program, very good program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And very much, and thanks to the lady, Miss Duki.
Mhm.
Very informative. I appreciate your program very much, and I try my best onto your radio.
Very good. Thank you.
Anyway, what I want to just call and highlight a little bit concerning the mask. People that coming in there, they don't listen, they don't follow guidelines. This year I up not to work, taking the risk and all that. To do some business, I decided to travel. And there, some people were wearing their masks. One passenger boarded the bus. He was not wearing the mask. The officer came in, the security guard came in and told him to wear it. And there was a big uproar in the bus. He did not comply to the regulations or the rule. The security officer just left him. The bus driver came, looked at him, watched him, and then drove off with him. So you see what I'm trying to say, that people not listening. They're not listening. And I feel that EBC should take a stand that they must wear the mask. The CMO, in fact, Ministry of Health should take it for re-election, because I worked many years with EBC on that. Yes.
But we will see what recommendations the Ministry of Health will be providing to EBC in that regard.
Yes, because people, and they will make an uproar, they will cause all kind of things.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, and very good program.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for your contribution with us.
Yes.
Kenrick, I'm looking at a flyer that I got circulating on social media.
This is not a party. This is a fete with all of these parties. We have a caller here on the line, Nicole.
Virus, and he do have a mask. He should inhale. I get sick and just nobody shouldn't take you on after that. Anyhow.
No, but you would agree with me. It's about a personal responsibility. Yes.
It's for his own benefit. So I don't know. There's something. Yeah? One thing you know about Trinidadians: if God come now, Jesus Christ come now, or Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, whoever, Lord Shiva, and make a rule, you will find Trinidadians criticize. You will find fault in that.
Yes, that's right.
Trinidadians never accept nothing. See how this could work. Everybody have to have an opinion. Anyhow, the next thing, a chief election, correct? A ballot box in a particular polling station was full of spoiled ballots. Ballots that wasn't torn from the identification of the voter. You know that thing we are preparating in the tier of the part, this vote from the voter. by the voter, it's a spoiled ballot. A whole boxel. So you know what happened there? What happened there is that in the rush to steal the stuff a boxel.
So you, in essence, you would support this call.
An incumbent MP would have lost. I think
my question to you is, you supported
the leader said, leave it alone. 33 trees enough, don't put it. And that's what I'm going to be our Prime Minister. So just so I remind you of that. I'm sure you
Yeah, I'm quite aware of that.
Yeah, have a good morning. All the best.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, the Honorable Kendrick and Nicole.
Good. You know, Kendrick, that Justice Saunders, I just love that judge. I always respect him from the CCJ, and I always wish we had a Chief Justice like him. You know, he is somebody who's very stable. The other thing I was going to say is, I did notice a lot of people not wearing masks, and that is frightening. But you can't blame the people because some people cannot afford $20 for a mask or $10 for a mask.
Yeah, well, the mask is, you don't really have to buy a mask. You know, you can wear a bandana, same clothing, and what have you. And you tell me you cannot buy a mask for $20?
I think you're making a sweeping statement. I live in a village with poor many places, and I have never been given a free mask. I got a free mask because I paid my flu bill, and it was a cheap mask that fell apart the next day. I'm being honest. I just feel like people, when we talk about building roads and bridges, they do patchwork. They don't really help poor people in this country, and poor people will keep talking and talking. I want to say something about the PNM, and I'm not a big supporter of the PNM, but one thing they have in their party is loyalty, and they take care of their people, and the ones who they don't like, they ignore. But the UNC, it's like we support them because of their race. And even both Tuari don't make very good contributions in Parliament.
No, but hold on. You accused me just now of making a broad statement, but here it is, you making a broad
Very
statement.
so,
You're
yes.
offering an opinion.
Yes.
Well, I said that I'll clarify. I said that, you mean about the PNM? About the PNM having loyalty to the party? I said they know when to be loyal to who. I added that, I prefaced with that, because they will, that woman who got killed, that black African Trini woman, the woman who got killed, and her husband was sad about her, didn't show up. And then you look at what happened in Beaton with Hines getting water, and then he sued the guy. They know how to rein and kind of keep them at bay. But we could, UNC has so much power to overcome that, because when I talk about loyalty, I mean they know how to rein in people. That's what I mean,
Okay, well, I hear you. Let's take another
All right.
caller. Yeah. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning again. I hope
Yeah.
you all are not locking me out like small pen.
No. What, you know, this is what gets me upset. I would host you every enough oxygen. But this morning, because we had a little hiccup here on the telephone line,
No, I
you're
realize
accusing
that.
me. You're inferring that I cutting you off.
No. I realized that there was some problem with the phone because
Okay.
I set up on this side. So I just because one of the things is, as I said, small pain. That is why I didn't call a name.
All right, go ahead.
We
What's
all
on your
know
mind?
small pain, and it appears there's allegation that he are preventing people from coming into the country. But more importantly, I call about Lovell. I want to know what Lovell will be saying now, boy. Remember,
Yes, you know.
I know, but with all indications, with everything, if GCOM rule otherwise, it's pressure for them down there. You understand? So to me, I believe it's a given now, right? The final stage.
All
Because
right,
I
but
listen to
no, hold on. You listened to Granger yesterday in a news clip?
Yeah, Granger could say anything you want now, but the whole world is against him now. He is not a superhero. You understand? But the other thing I want to talk about, I am seeing some very, very pleasant UNC. Yesterday there was a cottage meeting in San Fernando, and I saw two prevalent people in the UNC. Mr. Ramarine and Mr. Fazal Karim addressing that was in
San Fernando.
Well,
last night it was broadcast on Facebook, and for people is to go back and see. There is, as we say, coming together, and people must not look at a strategy that they are probably not being told what is going on. But that was pleasantly.
Well, hold on. You are very late in that observation. I said that to Nicole on Monday. When these people were rejected, the UNC, these people are now showing a level of political maturity.
That's right.
No, well, probably but late. But I was pleasantly surprised that I see these two people was addressing the crowd for Sobers, supporting Sobers down in those areas. And that is good for me. That is good. That is what I'm interested in. The other thing, I'm hearing that tonight we will be hearing more about the DLC matter. And I've been seeing a clip circulating that, you remember it have a feather by the name of Ripouty, what they call him, Ripouty? That a year and a half ago, playing golf. So most likely we will hear more about it. I call opposition leader. She says she have more information to share to the public today. So I'm looking forward to that additional in here before.
That is the same political leader who said that sunlight will prevent the virus from reaching the country.
But that's a scientific fact now.
Really? Well,
yes.
Well, then explain to me how come Brazil are this for the virus in the Americas?
Because there is communal spread. People touching too close to each other.
Hold on.
You have to understand there are several factors. Not one will be the best bet. So you have to
No. But the opposition leader went to town and she boldly stated that this country.
And she said it again.
Yeah. Well, last night.
Kendrick, really scientific.
All right, my friend. My question is this. If that is the case, explain to me, and you just give an excuse because of contact and so on. If sunlight kills the virus, explain to me how come in Brazil is now the epicenter.
On the issue of masks, and we've been talking about masks for the entire morning, I'm left to question where the masks that the government supposedly has to pay $5 million for the public of Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, that's a good question. I cannot answer that.
But that's something we need to find out, huh?
But sometimes, look, there are measures being taken to
Yes.
ensure that nationals of this country get a mask.
Yes.
But you have unscrupulous people in this country, Nicole, who will try to make a penny or who will try to benefit
That's right.
from these, let's say, efforts. And
Customize your mask.
and-
What do you think about that?
so the young lady or the woman this morning who is talking about, that's not true. You can make a mask from an ordinary T-shirt.
A
You can make a
bandana,
mask
yes.
from a bandana.
An old bed sheet or something?
You don't have to have what you call, what I see people wearing now, designer mask and
Yes,
so on.
yes.
There's no need for that. But if you want to wear, it's as simple to make. Very simple to make. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 975. Good morning.
Ken, in a recent past, people used to take flour bag, make sheet,
True.
make shirt, short, and they follow the rules. Today, with CPEP, European Food Card, people do poor mask. If that is the case, stay home. If you can't get this cloth in your house to put it on a makeshift mask, stay home. Don't go and spread the disease with nobody. You see, this thing about Trinidadians, we have a reason for everything to do wrong, you
An
know.
excuse for everything.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one reason to do things right. That's because it's right. But you find all the reasons to do it wrong.
Yes.
And just. So thanks.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you very much. No. Yeah, go ahead.
Henrik, I wanted to switch gears a little bit because I just came across a video. I'm scrolling through social media here, and I just came across a video, very interesting as well. That shows a fresh video that shows a different angle of what happened on June 27th in Mova.
That's the killing of those three young men.
Yes, I'm actually looking at the video. It's a very short one, but it's something that we're going to have to pay very close attention to
Well,
right
I
now.
think that matter was drawn to Gary Griffith. That matter would have been drawn to him, and he says, and he would have mandated that all of the videos in recording in that area should be handed to him to make some sort of
Well, it's
determination.
on social media. Let's hope it doesn't spark any social outrage again.
Okay. Let's take this caller. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Henry.
Good morning, friend. How are you?
Thank you very much,
For what, boy?
for correcting that gentleman just now. Because if you look at what is happening in Brazil, the newspaper industry in Brazil has just sued the Brazilian Prime Minister. You know for what? he went before Corona and took off his mask.
Yes. The
You know
president.
that?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
the president.
Bolasario, yes.
And the same lady tells us that I tell him if I had listened to that lady, I bought 3 cases of bottle and put them outside to collect the sun with the intention to sell them.
Mm.
So thank you very much for correcting that. I forget the name it has put to him. Conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
Go along these people line and putting that lady based on those kind of allegations. We dare to know, Mr. Kenrick.
No, and I thought, you see, as we head closer to August 10th, a number,
I totally agree with you.
they would
as
have
well.
been given top marks.
Yes.
You see that man they call Mr. Paris Ram?
Mhm.
Yes.
He deserves a Trinity Cross and medal.
We both agree, Kenrick.
Yeah,
the
we agree,
Order of
we
the
agree.
Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, if there's one thing we could sell,
Yes.
we could sell that man.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, well, both Nicole and I endorse that.
Definitely.
We would have said before we came on air that we are of the view that Dr. Rushan Park
Award of Trinidad.
honor
Yes. That's
in
right.
Trinidad and Tobago. Your Trinity Cross, so to speak.
Yes.
Yes.
The Order of the
the
Republic
Order
of
the Republic of
Trinidad
Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. I must always remember that.
Yes.
Anyway, folks, we need to take a commercial break at this time. I'm expecting in the studio in just a short bit the President General of the Old Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Stay with us here.
U975 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio is coming to you. All loyal listeners bringing goodies too. That's right. The U975 FM family is taking over the streets with our bandwagon. 11th July 2020 and continuing throughout the upcoming weeks. Central Trinidad, this is your time. Look out for a 40-foot music trailer of raw power, powered by Randy B Sound Company, passing in your area. We start in Couva, then head along the southern main road into Chaguanas. Felicity, you will not be left out. We will be passing through your area. And then we head to Monroe Road, Bokal, and Caroni with a smashing out.
A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited.
Assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
That was major news.
Sweet TNT is my country. Every creed and race have an equal.
Yes, the voice there of Natasha Wilson dishing out sweet TNT on this beautiful Tuesday morning here in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, people. Good morning. Yeah. Dial, you are still with 975 FM Hot Like Pepper, multicultural radio, the most interactive morning program on the airwaves of this land. And yes, I've been promoting Nirvan Maraj this morning since on Tuesday. He's here with me in the studio this morning as the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, and more so as we look at some of the issues facing us here in the country. The utterances, thoughts coming from some of the major political leaders in this, Dr. Keith Rowley. We're looking at the campaign. What are some of the issues which ought to be articulated on the campaign? A bit later on the program, I will give you an opportunity to share a thought with us. You can also pose a question to Mr. Maraj this morning if you have a concern. So let's get straight into our discussion with Mr. Maraj here this morning. Good morning, Mr. Maraj, and thank you very much for taking some time off to be with us here this morning.
My pleasant good morning to you, Ken, and of course to all the listeners and viewers out there.
Well, looking on from the outside and looking inside as to what is happening in the... Let's look at what is happening in Guyana. Yesterday, the Caribbean Court of Justice, based here in Trinidad, would have handed down a judgment. Walk us through that and share your thoughts with us.
Well, I have not intimately looked at the judgment, the details, but I simply would have heard what would have transpired in the media. The CCJ would have, of course, struck down the Guyana's Court of Appeals decision with regard to the insertion of the word valid in the votes. Basically, what it is saying is that the election officer was wrong in the report that he presented. But all the details of the situation, what I'm concerned about, Ken, is I am foreseeing a crisis in Guyana, which could be perhaps even viewed as a constitutional crisis, because here you have the ruling party, the representative of the ruling party is indicating that the CCJ, in its interpretation of the law, or it did not take the law into consideration, instead it went on the basis of emotion as a result of the politics of the day. Now in Guyana, if the chief elections officer of Guyana, and is an integral part of the Constitution, the question is, can the CCJ's decision take paramountcy or take precedent over the constitutional remit of the elections officer? If there's, well, it will have to come down to interpretation of the law. Basically, the government on one hand is saying the elections officer would have the final say. The elections together with the government, that the CCJ did not take into consideration the process in Guyana, which is the casting of the votes, and then the consolidation or reconsolidation of the votes, and whether the votes are valid or not. They are claiming basically that the CCJ, that aspect of the validation of the votes, because the CCJ would have indicated that the elections officer did not have the authority to, of course, invalidate 115,000 votes. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm saying all that may be what have transpired. My concern is looking as how does the ruling of the CCJ impact on the Constitution of Guyana, and how does it impact on the interpretation of the Constitution and the interpretation of the law, and what happens now. Because now Court of Appeal, and they have ruled it is up to the Granger's government to decide what they are going to do now and what is their next move. Now, I saw Mr. Granger, President Granger, on television in a short clip indicating that it is not finished. Well, I now have to see what is going to transpire like everyone else. I can't preempt or say exactly what would or would not happen, but certainly I'm very concerned about what is happening here.
Okay. In layman term, the Caribbean Court of Justice would have handed down a ruling. The matter now, elections officer of Guyana to make a decision. Not prepared to, let's say, he's not comforted by the decision handed down, and he will take the matter further. What redress does he have?
Well, I don't know. That is the thing. I don't know where further. Mm-hmm. If we are handed a judgment by the Privy Council, which is our final Court of Appeal, then certainly we will have to adhere to the ruling of the Privy Council, and therefore the ruling of the CCJ, well, in the context of a theoretical ideal situation, should be the Chief Elections Officer of Guyana now has to make a decision. The question in my mind makes, does the ruling of the CCJ, or can the ruling of the CCJ invalidate his locus standi under the Constitution of Guyana? And that, I think, is the rub at this point in time, Ken.
Well, it's a lot of legal jargon. The matter is in limbo. And I asked you this question last week, and based on the developments we've been seeing for the past week or so, could we see any fallout coming from, let's say, international agencies?
Well, even before I do that, I know that the Guyanese government, well, the Granger government before would have been looking at the concept of the votes, and I know that the Guyanese Court of Appeal would have inserted the word valid, and of course the CCJ would have struck that down. The question, therefore, is, are we looking at how many votes were cast, how many votes were counted, and are we looking at a different system of the validation of the votes cast? And what to be saying is, yes, you may have 100 votes being cast, but in reconciliation and validation of these votes, we have found that, say, 50 of those votes being invalid. According to the Granger government, took into consideration whether valid or invalid votes should be counted, or whether they did not take the question of valid votes or not into consideration at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the rub is, and that is why I'm saying it. I think it's a constitutional, well, not a constitutional crisis per se. It's a question of the Constitution of Guyana, the CCJ, in terms of the local standard of the Chief Elections Officer.
Of regional bodies, we're talking about CARICOM, the European Union, which is out of our jurisdiction, would have endorsed the election in Guyana. Point I'm making to you, as regional bodies or even international
sanctions or this isolation would adversely affect the people of Guyana, because if you isolate Guyana, then it means that you are removing yourself from even having a theoretical say in the affairs of Guyana through the principle of CARICOM or the United Nations, for example. I don't know whether the people of Guyana, the opposition, will have to appeal to the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Because even while we are looking at the side of the opposition and saying happened and the opposition won, remember, just as the lawyers for the opposition will be presenting a case, the best case possible to show why the opposition won, so too the lawyers for the government will be presenting the best case possible to show why this government should stay in power. So now, if we remove the law from the whole equation and you leave it up to the Guyana's government and Guyana's opposition to negotiate an outcome or some sort of amicable resolution to this situation, whatever happens, I am sure that a large percentage of the Guyanese population will feel that they have been unfairly done by and disenfranchised, and that is my concern. CARICOM can only do so much. Words can only do so much. Short of an intervention, physical intervention into Guyana, else the internet can do if the government is not going to, and I say, again, I'm speaking here, not taking a side, but as a lawyer objectively, I don't know what the international community could do if the government of Guyana refuses to adhere to the CCJ's ruling, refuses to adhere to the whatever CARICOM may say, as they have done with Mia Mottley's statement, and of course refuses to adhere to, let's say, the United Nations. So whether you isolate Guyana, it doesn't remove the issue and the fundamental will exist within Guyana internally, where two large populations are vying against each other for that political power in order to eat of the economic pie with the new-found oil and energy wealth. But if you leave Guyana alone, then we don't know what will happen in Guyana. And that is the concern, I think, that the majority following this situation would have at this point in time.
Well, it's certainly a very ticklish situation in Guyana, Mr. Maraj. In the next couple of weeks, can we anticipate? Look into your crystal ball and tell me, can we see any sort of, let's say, social unrest?
Well, you could probably see internal social unrest, yes. In fact, even before the ruling of the CCJ, I looked at the representative of the Guyanese government on television stations that were doing an interview with him. And he refused whether if the CCJ ruled against them, whether the Guyanese government would adhere to the ruling of the CCJ. And even if before the ruling was answered, that question of whether they would adhere to it or not, then certainly I have grave concern for the situation in Guyana. And this is not concern that I am saying that the opposition won, or the government won. Concern that you have a conflict between the CCJ, the final Court of Appeals ruling, and perhaps of Guyana, the chief elections officer, and the government of Guyana.
Given the newfound wealth in Guyana, oil, so to speak, of course, Mr. Maraj, Guyana is now set to be one of the richest country in the Western Hemisphere, given their natural resources. The economic implements.
Certainly, the business community in Trinidad must be very concerned. I know personally of many individuals who have large tracts of land, for example, owned in Guyana, engage in massive business in Guyana, and certainly whenever there's political instability, which certainly in a country like Guyana could lead to social instability, then those in Trinidad and Tobago must be very concerned. Again, the question is what can be done? Yes, the prime ministers of the CARICOM voice is heard, but the most they can do is to call upon the government or the opposition of Guyana to adhere to whatever rulings there are. But if it is, then is what is to be done? And I think that is the question that we can only look on and hope that things are resolved in an amicable manner.
Let's go back again. All indications are pointing to the PPP as emerging victorious. CARICOM would have endorsed that. Other regional entities would have endorsed that. From a lawyer standpoint, Mr. Maraj, what sort of, let's say, action Farah Jagdir and Irfan Ali
they can all the action that they can legally in terms of going to the Guyanese Court of Appeal. The matter was referred to the CCJ. You now have to wait on the actions of the chief elections officer, and then after he speaks or presents a report, because his initial report has been thrown out, then basically you will have to see what your legal options are. Because the substantive matter here was the question of the validation of votes. There may be other substantive matters that you could take up to delay a definite pronouncement by the chief elections officer. Again, I think all those things are semantics in terms, and the logic. Fact is, as a lawyer myself, I am fully aware that the law has nothing to do with morality. It has nothing to do with ethics. It may very well have nothing to do with right and wrong, as much as it has to whole system of the casting of votes, the counting of votes, and the verification and consolidation of the votes. So if they are holding on to that concept, then they are now claiming that if the chief elections officer has declared 115,000 votes invalid, the local standard under the Guyanese constitution to do so. That will be their argument at this point in time. Again, like I'm saying, like everyone else, I can only, with concern, watch on and do hope that there's some sort of amicable resolution. I will hate for Guyana to go back to the days of the 60s and the 70s under the Burnham regime, atrocities that were committed there.
All right, you're with 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. We are inside the hour of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. I'm chatting here with Mr. Nirvan Maraj, the president of the union, and by extension, the political leader of the national CARICOM observers, international observers, to be part of the election here in Trinidad. Now, note that election is due on the 10th of August. But before we go up to the 8 o'clock newscast, I want to pose this question to Mr. Maraj here this morning. Mr. Maraj, we would have talked about the election in Trinidad and Tobago, and certainly when the announcement was made last week by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. What thoughts? Surprised by the election date?
In retrospect, I was surprised at the announcement, but in retrospect, it was called. I don't think the PNM government will want to go into an election after a budget is read. I don't think a people's budget may be forthcoming, and therefore I believe, and in light of what transpired in Port of Spain, I thought he, in retrospect, would have called that election in an attempt to catch everyone with their pants down, basically.
Well, this year we have a number of things happening. We have the CXC, we have CAPE, we have CSEC, we have SEA examination, we have COVID-19, 133. We have all of these challenges facing us, and now with general election.
Certainly, I mean, with a global economic crisis, with the effects of COVID-19 and plummeting energy prices, oil and gas, I think he had no choice. He thought that he had to do that before the budget was called. In addition to that, you had the pending social unrest, it seems, in Port of Spain. At the end of the day, I guess we'll wait and see what transpires on August the 10th.
Well, I wanted you to look into your crystal ball a bit later on the program,
Sure.
and share some thoughts. We'll take the 8 o'clock newscast with Uma Ratan Singh, and when we come back, we'll continue with our discussion here with Mr. Nirvan Maraj, the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Stay with us here, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations, U97.5 Hot Like Pepper, for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot.
U975 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio is coming to you, all loyal listeners, and we're bringing goodies too. That's right, the U975 FM family is taking over the streets with our band Saturday, 11th July 2020, and continuing. This is your time. Look out for a 40-foot music trailer of raw power, powered by Randy B Sound Company, passing in your area. We start in Couva, then head along the southern main road into Chaguanas. Felicity, you will not be left out. We will be passing through your area, and then we head to Monroe Road, Bokal, and Caroni with a smashing after party. Join us on the road.
Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
This is the 8 a.m. news on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Uma Ratan Singh. Good morning. $20 million have been approved by the World Bank to assist this country in its COVID-19 response project. This was confirmed in a media release issued by the bank on Wednesday. It stated that the project will support to COVID-19, focusing on the health sector. The funding will assist in providing critical medical supplies and equipment and will strengthen the capacity of the health sector. The bank added that this project will help the government's national COVID-19 preparedness and response plan. Works and Transport Minister Rohan Sinanan attitudes.
far, you would have seen, I mean, it's amazing the amount of people who would have been breaking the law before and now are trying to get their act together. The demerit point was a great success for us. It will take some time for how serious we are with the demerit points. I can tell you some drivers' licenses have already been suspended. A month they have accumulated enough points.
He said the system has encouraged motorists to follow the right procedures and obey the law.
Notice on the bus route just recently, I had some maxi taxis protesting by my office for their priority pass. It's strange that once they start to crack down on illegal drivers on the bus route, that everybody wants, is it the demerit point that is causing all that? So the points are working.
The voice of Minister Rohan Sinanan. Finance Minister Colin Imbit denies claims that the processing of salary relief grants has been stalled by the lack of a printer. However, in June, the government announced that measures had been put in place to expedite the payment of the relief grant and other support grants in light of COVID-19. The last count provided indicated that salaries had been paid to 47,000 people. According to a report, one said she received a call from someone who purportedly advised her that she should resubmit her documents to assist the grant as the unit's printer was not functional. Shedding some light on the situation, Minister Imbud said the claim the unit printers were not working was entirely false. Minister Imbud from the SRG unit made any such call, and calls are made to applicants to sort out missing or incomplete information on forms. He indicated that the unit is not Hamscope, and staff of the Elections and Boundaries Commission staged a mock polling station simulation exercise at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Napa campus on Tuesday. The exercise was carried out to assess its level of preparedness for the upcoming general election. Guidelines and will include physical distancing, wearing of masks, and the Ministry of Health, led by the Principal Medical Officer, Epidemiology. The EBC said that at every step in the staged voting process, the Chief Election Officer identified for the benefit of the new processes that will be introduced in a polling station on election day. To 8 a.m., join us at 10 for a news update. I am Uma Ratan Singh, wishing you a very good morning.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Lisha Limited, and the Trinidad. Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and President of the General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
Yes, indeed, and welcome back to 975 FM on Hot Like Pepper as we continue our conversation here with Mr. Nirvan Maharaj, the President General of the Old Trafford by the government of the day. Note that this matter would have been before the People's Partnership when they would have been in office, and they would have agreed to do such in principle. Walk us through this matter, Mr. Maharaj.
In 2012, when I took up that colony workers, who 9 years after would not have received what was due to them in terms of the lands agricultural and residential. You also had two issues that were also pending there. I'm not talking about things like the reserve severance. And eventually, of course, the colony workers, ex-colony workers, will reimburse their monies that they would have paid for that residential lot. Each one of them getting back, I think, between $25,000 to $30,000. You had 116 of them who did not receive it, who had gone through sugar welfare for the loans, who did not receive it. They would have received that monies last year. In addition to that, we would have argued for getting a sugar welfare loan was that you had to work in the sugar industry for a number of years. And cane farmers, for example, had to have seasonal contracts with Colony Limited. And that was the criteria and the way that you could get a sugar welfare loan, because it was expected that you will continue to work in Colony Limited to be able to pay off the loan. When Colony 1975 Limited was shut down by the then government, we argued that they remove the criteria of repayment of the loan. And as such, I would have argued that on many occasions, or that before the former government, it was agreed in principle that that should be done. And
the former government you're referring to is the People's Partnership Administration.
The People's Partnership Administration, yes. It was agreed to in principle. We had many discussions concerning that and the reimbursements, of course, and the write-off of the sugar welfare loans. And I'm happy to say today, well, it's a bit late, but in 2020, I see that the cabinet would have approved the write-off of the sugar welfare loans, yes.
And this just jogged my memory, because I remember covering a Labor Day Rienzi complex hosted by, of course, the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, and in the presence of Dr. Rudal Munilal and other top executives or ministers. You would have reminded the Prime Minister at that time, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, to look at writing off this sugar welfare loan. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. It is something I would have argued for a very long time. And I mean, I'm not one to blow my own trumpet, as you know. But I must say, I must thank those ex-colony workers, those activists. I must thank the staff of the... Really give a special thank you to Rakib Mohammed, the coordinator of the ex-colony workers association, who together with me, we would have labored long and hard and marched and protested and demonstrated. Though the majority of people may not realize it or recognize it, the fact is it was through us that colony workers were able to get back the monies they paid for their residential lots. It was also through us that they were able to know that the sugar welfare loans have been written off. And through us even that almost 2,000 to 3,000 people who were not expecting land were able to get land. So I think, when you know what you have done, and I'm always pleased when I mention Rakib's name, because he was one who was there in the struggle with me through. I mean, we know what we have done, and I'm very pleased with the achievements that we have gained on behalf of the ex-colony workers. And I'm hoping that more will come. The next thing we have to look at, I'm hoping that will be rectified on fund issue, where in 2016, all ex-colony workers were supposed to get back, I think, about $30,000 from the reserve pension fund. That was the excess of the fund. That did not transpire. So I know that is something that Rakib is feverishly working on at this point in time. So we'll see how that pans out.
Can you share with me this morning how many people or how many ex-colony workers would have benefited or stood to benefit from this measure, that is the sugar welfare loan?
Well, certainly I'm not too sure of the figure, because a lot of people would have taken loans, some would have paid off. Some are still owing monies. When I checked last, I know that there were people who were owing. There were some who were owing up to $50,000, $60,000 would have paid off. So I was actually calling for a reimbursement of those who would have paid monies after 2003. I will take anything we could get at this point in time with regard to people, at least. Those who benefit, I'm happy for them. That they won't have to pay any more monies.
You would have made this call some time back, but I don't think that you really took the opportunity to elaborate the reserve pension. And as we are into this political season, I would suggest that you keep this matter alive, because a number of promises will be made. Walk us through this. It's reserve pension.
The reserve pension was simply the excess of a fund that was put in place for ex-colony workers. That in March 26, At the end of the day, I did call for documentation on behalf of the ex-colony workers so that when 2016 come, they would have been able to go to wherever they have to go, the central bank or wherever it may be, in order to showing confirmation that they are due for these monies. That was never done. But I think that money is I don't think anyone knows what has happened to that money at this point in time. So certainly it is something that we're looking at still. The question of colony workers receiving that reserve pension fund that is owed to them. And it happened now. We have to wait for elections to come. August the 10th will determine the pathway that this country will take as we plod along meaningfully in a COVID-19 situation, as well as a global economic crisis, as well as, of course, as I said, low energy prices. I don't know. I know that there are still 4,000 ex-colony workers who have to get lands owed to them. Their leases for their lands owed to them, residential and agricultural. These are things I'm hoping. I know that EMBD is owing contractors billions of dollars. I don't know what is the situation with that, if it will be rectified, especially in the situation that we are in now. So there are many sites that have been completed that should be given out, but it is held back because of contractors. You have sites that were taken away and given to the Land for the Landless program, of course. We would have called for those sites to be returned to the ex-colony workers. So there are many issues that still exist 17 years after the shutdown of the sugar industry. Alleviate some of the suffering of these ex-colony workers. And I think we did a fairly good job in order to get back the monies that they would have paid for the residential lot. Now we have the sugar welfare loans written off. We were successful in getting the 116 individuals to be paid. And of course, we helped many people to get the lands that were due to them. To a very large extent, the political will must also be there. And in Parliament, I think, is the final place of arbitration for the issues of the ex-colony workers.
But you talk about the political will, Mr. Maraj, and as candidates pound the street, so to speak, of course, in these former sugar belt areas, it is interesting to note that these matters which you are discussing with me this morning are not articulated on the various platforms. Very interesting indeed.
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me anymore. You know, as Bass always said, nothing surprises him in politics. It has a morality of its own. Common political parties and even candidates revel and thrive on the them and us syndrome in our politics, and therefore that always works for the incumbent political parties. So you don't need to deal with issues. People have a mindset, is the better the devil I know than the devil I don't know. That sort of thing in our politics, where you remove issues from the political campaign and you deal with personality conflict. What more can I say, Ken? I have fought this battle for a very long time.
And you as you would have indicated to me on some other programs, you are prepared to continue.
We will continue to articulate on behalf of the workers, because right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't country have been so unfairly done by. You hear many non-governmental organizations and many people talking about Petrotrin, or they talk about the steel workers. Very few people talk about the ex-colony workers who are still awaiting a large. No other group of workers have been so unfairly done by. Their constitutional rights have been violated, and the world and Trinidad and Tobago would have turned a blind eye to that.
All right, let's shift gears and look at the politics of today. 2020 general election, August 10th, nomination day. This morning, a number of callers to the program would have a question or remain very concerned as to the quality of by the two major political parties. It was very interesting to note that Fazal Karim will not be facing the poll, so too Dr. Bo Tiwari and others, of course. Shared me this morning your thoughts on the composition of candidates on the both divide, the People's National Movement and the United National Congress.
Well, you know, Ken, it is not my place
as a political observer
interfere into the affairs of individual politics. Having made a decision not to take part in the elections because of a lack of financial resources. You know, I can only stand on the sideline and look on now at this point in time. But one thing I have learned in my years dealing with trade unionism, dealing with politics, observing, reading, is that competence means nothing. Loyalty means everything. When the political leaders, the different political leaders would have chosen candidates not only to for their loyalty, and also to ensure that whatever happens in the future, that their positions remain intact. Basically, it is not my place to judge the candidates, and any leader will do that. I don't expect a leader to choose candidates who, at the drop of a pin, will turn against the leader. Candidates who they could depend on or whom they think that they could trust to adhere to the views of the leader and to support the leader at every turn or every
outside there. Why should I vote for a particular party? What are the issues? What are the what is the contention being argued outside
One of the fundamental issues that political parties must discuss, and I have found them wanting, is the question of labor legislative reform. You must have reforms to the Industrial Relations Act. You must have reform relooked and rethinked and redeveloped. Example, how unions could get recognition and what have you. Very few political parties talk about these things. They simply skirt around it. I think the issue of health is a major issue. Government on its handling of COVID. I think if you want to be objective, remove your political hat. You have no choice but to say the government did a very good job with COVID-19. But the mainstream health system, I think, needs to be looked at. Political parties have to present a plan to show how they are going to reform the health who are not affected adversely when he goes to the hospital, when he has to wait for a bed, when he has to wait a year to get an appointment to do a CT scan or to do an angiogram. These are the things that the ordinary man wants to hear. I think we need to look at the question of the education system, which I think would have done a very grave injustice to the functional literacy of our people, for we have created a number of functional illiterates, even at the highest level. The lack of critical thinking and the inability to comprehend our history. I think we have to Trinidad and Tobago by doing a generic history of the Caribbean rather than focusing on the development of Trinidad and Tobago, one people, one nation under God. So the education system needs to be reformed to push that history of Trinidad and Tobago. I think crime is something that we need to look at. It is fundamental to our safety and security of citizens, and it is an integral part of our constitution, the ability to enjoy security and the right to enjoy your property as you see fit. These are some of the issues I think needs to be dealt with. Political parties also need, instead of presenting huge and macroeconomic transformational plans, they also need to present to the populace short-term measures and medium-term measures. Every man on the street could be assisted economically with regard to the thousands of persons who are being retrenched and laid off, and the companies that are looking at breaking collective agreements, reducing people's wages, temporary layoffs, reducing overtime, triple time and double time when you work on a holiday or on bread and butter issues affecting individuals, and stop talking about who did what and who didn't do what. We need to provide, they need to show logistically, practically, and logically how you are going to create sustainable jobs for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Because you have a situation where otherwise you could be looking at severe social instability, where you have a large every day, and outside of your makeshift programs of work, you have nothing being put in place to create permanent employment for these persons. So there are many, many issues I think political parties need to look at as they go onto the campaign trail. Truthfully, I don't think 80% of the population will take on these issues if I want to be practical. I think the political parties know exactly what they are doing. They are all totally in sword that hangs over the head of the politics of Trinidad and Tobago, race and ethnicity, to ensure that they get at least a percentage of their base, and then they strive to see who else they could get to win those marginals.
All right, let's shift gears here. Yesterday I spoke to a young man, Nikolai Edwards, who is the head of the Progressive Party. And there's this move now for smaller parties respective in the scheme of things, Politics 2020.
You specify it at 2020, but I want to look at it on the bigger picture. Smaller parties are there to to be an alternative voice to the incumbent political parties, to represent those small segments that feel continuously disillusioned and disenfranchised by the actions of the incumbent political parties. But you also have to be practical. Illusion, even as the leader of the NSA, as to what I can or cannot do. Smaller parties have to try to create themselves into a powerful political lobby, not that they may be able to win or enter the doors of parliament because of the system that we have, but at least create such a powerful voice that their views are taken on by those who enter the doors of parliament. If you look at the history of Trinidad and Tobago, Ken, I hear many people talking about the Wicca syndrome. We can have change because of you have the People's Partnership syndrome. What they fail to understand is ONR got 100,000 votes and no seats. COP got 150,000 votes and no seats. The ILP got over 100,000 votes, I believe, no seats. The point is, you cannot change or hope to enter parliament unless you have one of the incumbent political parties with you and unless you take that base with you. NR won the elections because of the ULF provided that foundation base and they picked up what else they could have gotten. Same thing with the parties that came together. The party that had the seats in parliament and was assured of those seats were the party that controlled that base. And if you want to say that Indo base as well as the PNM that controls that Afro base. I'm using those terms simply to emphasize the discussion. So this thing about the people are ready for change or the people want change and change will come. Yes, change could come, but you have to look at the different mechanisms through which you could achieve the change. Unless you understand that presently, and I don't see it changing for a while, it has been since there are two parties, of course the UNC being an incarnation of the ULF, an incarnation of the ACDC-DLP, an incarnation of the UNC Alliance A, the UNC A Alliance, a number of incarnations. That there are two large segments of that gravitate to political parties. No matter what you do, that is going to happen. And therefore, I have total respect for small parties that take the plunge, but I don't hold much hope of small parties entering into the parliament and the corridors of power unless you have certain things happening as it did in 86 and as it did in 20. Happening was not a combination of smaller parties against the PNM or the UNC, and the UNC. It was a combination of smaller parties with an incumbent together with them. That is the only way you could manifest change. The PNM has made it fully known that they fight alone, they stand alone, they win alone, and they lose alone. And the fact is the PNM is every election you go into, it's always the PNM and somebody. It is never somebody and somebody excluding the PNM. That is why it has become so difficult. The party having become an institution in this country, it has become so difficult to remove the PNM. I think Basil Pandit did it in 2001, I believe, when he gained 19 seats as a UNC by itself. I think in this except, well, whether you have backroom deals being cut with regard to any of the smaller parties, this is another election where the UNC will be going in by itself. Change the PNM, you always had that. But no combination will work unless you have an incumbent with it. That's the history of the politics.
I cannot let you go before asking you this question. Kamla Prasad Visesa referred to the Guyana elections, talking about unsettled election results, election rigging, and impropriety. Absence of observers in Trinidad and Tobago. She is making this call for international observers to be part of the electoral process in this country. Historically, this towards are happening. Your take on this, the call for international observers?
Well, certainly the call is not one that I will condemn. I personally don't see the need for international observers. I think that Trinidad has a long history of a smooth transition of power. It always has, whether it be the PNM, the UNC, the NAR, or whatever it may be. I think the only time we may have had certain issues was that 1961 voting machine debacle. But other than that, we have had a smooth transition. I think the police and the army has always adhered to the highest principle. To say that Kamla Prasad Bisesa, as the leader of the opposition with 18 seats in parliament, and the only individual outside of Keith Rowley, Prime Minister Keith Rowley, who is best poised to be the Prime Minister or leader of the opposition, then certainly she has a right elections and a smooth transition of power.
All right. You've been following the
vote. And I saw the EBC indicated that a person's did not have to wear a mask, is it?
Yeah,
when they were going to vote?
that's according to the EBC, yes.
I mean, I am totally again, and I understand, again, you see, Ken, legal is always different to moral and ethical. I understand the EBC's position that there's no legal requirement to wear and therefore, if someone is not wearing a mask, then you can't debar them from exercising adult suffrage right to vote. But then you also have that moral, ethical responsibility to ensure that nothing that you do by your actions could adversely infringe upon the rights of another man. And I think this is something in the July, August 20, it's 550,135 deaths in different places in there, and Europe and the United States, places where you dwell, they are now collapsing under the strain of the COVID-19. So I would have thought that even if we had people wear masks.
You're talking about the legality of it, and then you talk about morality. Here it is, 2020 general election. A number of nationals living abroad could given the...
I think it's a very idiotic thing that not because elections would have been called on August the 10th, the COVID-19 suddenly disappears. I think that the government is doing the best, is handling it the best way possible, that you have to bring in people according to your the beds that you have. You have to bring in people according to how your parallel health system, we have to go back. I don't know whether it's a minority. I will go on the side of caution, and I will say those who are out, you leave them out. And if that means bringing in people at a pace that your health system could handle, then so be it. Elections will come and elections will go, but certainly I don't intend to support the endangering of the lives of citizens who live here by bringing in
opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa, where yesterday she claimed that the People's National Movement is, bringing in nationals from abroad to vote in the 2020 general election.
Well, I can't comment on that.
No. My thought on that is where's the
election season? You will hear many claims.
Look in your crystal ball. PNM or UNC?
I think it will be very close.
How significant is the Watson Duke and the Tobago 2 seats?
What Tobago has always had working for it, and you remember the days of the DSC,
yeah, with N.R. Robinson,
where PNM could not even step foot into Tobago. The fact is, Tobago is a separate entity from Trinidad in the sense that they are not saddled with the ethnic, racial voting patterns and the problems that Trinidadians would face in terms of voting, where you have 18 seats here, or you're sure about 10 seats here because of the racial voting patterns. Tobago is basically the majority, one race of persons who will exercise their franchise. And what I have found is, to a very large extent, many to be able to pull one. Who knows?
So in this scenario, we could possibly see Watson Duke having what you call the balance of power, kingmaker, so to speak.
Possibly. I have nothing as because of the nature of Tobago, which is very unlike Trinidad politics, and very few people understand that, and that is one of the mistakes the UNC made, for example, in the local elections of 2013. In support, I think it was Jack was his name.
Ashwood Jack.
However, that I've always thought that the UNC should put up candidates in Tobago as well, merely to define itself as a national party.
Yes.
But be that as it may, that's fine. I mean, I'm not here to judge either parties. The fact is, I think the election will come down to election day. One point, however, when we were discussing before, we talked about the candidates and the marches. Derek Ramsumuj made a very important point in an interview. There's also the possibility that the candidates in safe seats could also influence the pattern of voting in the marginals as well. If people are looking at the caliber who will be represented
Next
very
week,
much.
probably next week, Friday, you
Sure.
can join Mr. Maraj again right here on 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. I know you have a hectic 2 days in front of you, Mr. Maraj, with all of these negotiations going on with the politics of the day, and even be healthy, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Stay with us here, 975 FM Hot Like Pepper, as we continue with our conversation with you right here, 975. Stay with us.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold agenda to the front burner and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
Yes, indeed, and thank you very much for staying with us here at 975 as we move up to the hour of 9 o'clock. Well, it's just about 16 minutes here to the hour of 9, and that time, Mr. Rajendra Rampasad, who is for the Couva South constituency. Note to folks that you can catch us on YouTube, live on YouTube at RCL U975. That address again, RCL U975, and you can also log on to 975radio.com. You're with the morning program on 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. I have a caller here on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome. Hello, good morning. All right, I'm sorry to miss your call, my friend, but at 636-7547-739. Let's thank Mr. Maraj for joining us on the program here this morning. You can catch him again next week, Friday, right here from just around 7:30. As they continue to build capacity with us here at 975. Note that on Saturday, yes, this Saturday, you can join us, the entire bandwagon of 975, as we engage in our road show. That's all. We'll be leaving our compound here at Exchange Lots in Couva from just around 8:30. That's in the morning, and we will be proceeding through a number of communities in the central area. So you can join us on Saturday. It should be quite exciting indeed. We'll have our DJs or members of staff on that truck engaging you in the community with discussions. All right, so we continue with our discussion here on the program this morning. And let me alert you as to what is happening. Well, both the United National Congress and the People's Partnership, the People's National Movement, continue to engage in a number of meetings. One of the big news coming out this week is that the candidate for the Dabadi Umira constituency, well, she was named on Tuesday. So that would have been said. Big news this morning is that Kamala Prasad Bissessa, she is calling on Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to, or rather the Election and Boundaries Commission, to bring in observers for the general election of 2020. Well, Mr. Maraj this morning said that there is no need for observers, given the fact that historically, us in Trinidad and Tobago would have transferred power from one entity to another without anything untoward happening. Barry Padarat, much has been said about him. Well, he's expected in the country over the weekend. That's the report I have in front of me. In his absence, he will continue his campaign, virtually, a virtual campaign. So we continue to look at the politics of the day. No confirmation coming as yet. The conversation is still coming in as to whether masks will be mandatory when you go to the polling station to cast your vote. That matter is still engaging the attention of the authorities. Well, it's about that time where I know the day and invite you to join us again tomorrow, just after the 6 o'clock hour, as we continue to abreast of all of the developments taking place in the country. Just is today engaging the England in that first test match. Today is the second day. Yesterday was partially rained off. Well, in the main, most of the yesterday's play would have been rained off. And as of this morning, my understanding is that the latest score would have been 49-2. But we'll keep you abreast. We'll keep you informed. Stay with us here. 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. Let's hear about this big event 975 will be having tomorrow, on Saturday rather.
975 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio is coming to you. All loyal listeners, 975 FM family is taking over the streets with our bandwagon. Starting this Saturday, 11th July 2020, and continuing throughout the upcoming weeks. Central Trinidad, this is your time. Look out for 40-foot music trailer sound company passing in your area. We start in Hoover, then head along the southern main road into Chaguanas. Felicity, you will not be left out. We will be passing through your area. And then we head to Monroe Road, Bocal, and Caroni with a smashing after party. Join us on the road.
Thank you very much, Kendall, for reminding us of that big event 975 will be hosting on a Saturday. And note to folks, yes, we will be carrying the entire proceedings live. Yes, you can catch us live on YouTube, courtesy Rampasad. Yes, courtesy Shiva Productions. And let's thank Shiva very much for, partnering with us here at 975. Shiva has been doing a great job thus far in ensuring that we reach into your homes wherever you are. Yes, you can catch us live on YouTube on a Saturday. That's something which you can look forward to. Come on, be part of this event. Yes, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event, and you can hear more about other events coming from this table of 975. Good morning, people. Good morning. Take care of yourself. I'm out of here. You can catch me again tomorrow, just after the 6 o'clock hour, where we'll do this all over again. But before I go, I want you to listen to this promo.
This is Samaru Ramru inviting you on a journey down memory lane with Enchanting Nightline, Mondays to Thursdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight.